we started working on the educational game. Quick overview for anybody who doesn't know by this point. It's a company, it's called Hidden Agenda. And what it is a educational game that teaches kids something without being overt about it. It's not like, choose the card, 1 + 1 equals what? It's like, you have to make them learn while they're enjoying it so they don't really know they're actually learning something. We're choosing a geographic style of teaching. No. Geographic teaching subject. Yes. Anyway, just letting you know. Anyway. So let's say we put this together. This is our overview for the game, plot overview, and stuff that we'll get to if we have time, because this does actually have a time limit, unlike this game. All right? All right, fine. The game objective, as you can see, is teach geography and land regions while giving them fun and challenging game experience. What the basic idea of the game is something happens, an accident happens at your grandfather's house, and it disappears, leaving a nice crater. All that's left behind is like this piece of paper that has a map, a diagram of this weird device, and some clues on the back. You start tracking down the clues, and they'll give you like coordinates on a map, geographic areas, landmark areas that you can track down, and you collect these relics. Once you have them all, they assemble into a device that takes you down to Atlantis, which is like the most difficult. Like you have to.
The culmination of all that you're supposed to learn.
Yeah, and once you're done, then you find your grandfather, and you've won the game. And if we have time at the end, we're going to add mini games to Atlantis to basically reward the kids who've gone all the way. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Just a quick plot, but
what kind of interface?
We're going to use GameMaker. So the main map that you're going to see is the world map, and you're going to choose the areas. But in order to get to the relic, you'll have to do a
platformer or a side scroller,
something like
top down going up. It'll be basically like once you get to the certain location, it'll be like either like a series or like a mini game that'll relate to a certain type, certain thing they have to learn about. And like once you beat this little mini game, you learn your thing, and then you should get this piece of item that you've been looking for.
What kind of character What kind of character do you play as?
Little kid.
You can be like a middle school kid.
Do you have like a concept? Like, is he gonna have a personality or name, or is it just gonna be kind of blank?
We're thinking about one of the things on our wish list is to use the player's name, if at possible, and add it to the dialogue. I'm still working with game makers. I'm not sure totally if that's going to be workable or not, but it should be.
This idea is basically, like hopefully, like even if we have more time, like there'll be like a male character or a female. So like depending on which one they choose, they can type in like they can choose their gender and then type in their name, so it makes it a bit more personal than just you're Bob the kid.
Which basically gives the character their personal personality, so they don't relate to that. Unless of course they hate themselves, which is really not our problem. Okay. Any questions, ideas, comments? Gundams everywhere. Okay.
So it's primarily a side scroller, or that's just one part of it?
It's just a part of it. It's going to have primarily you're going to be trying to find the.
I'm also trying to find some
puzzles and action puzzles.
Yeah, primarily going to be trying to find the relics, and then it's going to be the side scroller. So technically, you might spend more time on the side scroller, especially if you know where they're located anyway. Which is another thing we can probably add to the wish list is randomized locations and puzzles. But yeah, so probably you might spend more time on the side scrollers, but it's going to be primarily like a world map. It's your basic.
There's a list of 5 things you need to
system around 5 themes of geography. That would be environment, movement, place, location, and region.
So basically, each of the little mini games are going to involve one of these themes. So It's gonna be like, it might not necessarily be just a side scroller. It might be just like a puzzle game that you have to use like knowledge of, like, say, move, like different types of movement to solve the puzzle. And then you get the, you get the item and it's that way.
All right. Well, it's getting closer. I think we should probably wrap up the meeting. Those gotta go.
The production team environment. And anybody who was here the last meeting, was it the last meeting or the one before? I think it was the last meeting where Corey Gage was talking about what the job, the role of the producer. And it's something that I've been talking about in my game design class. I don't know that everybody who's taken the intro course had that covered to them in detail in relation to group dynamics and the issues that can come up. And I really, my knowing what I know about what was taught in those courses, I really don't think it was. So I really thought it would be important for me to just quickly review that kind of stuff with everybody, since not everybody in here are freshmen who are currently taking my class. So in the casual nonprofit environment of a college, most of the issues that you would usually come across in the production environment you don't have to worry about, right? You don't have a budget, you don't have to worry about working with publishers and dealing with all that, trying to make a profit and specific timelines. So a lot of those issues you don't have to worry about. You do still have to worry about design, technology, and personnel issues. And the first two are really easy to take care of as long as you plan well, which obviously you guys seem to be doing. You want to make sure that you have all your art that's been created. You want to create an art Bible so that everybody can utilize it and can have the same look and feel and direction that for your artwork. And make sure that there's a good review process for everything that's created, all the assets that are created. Same thing goes for the audio that's done. That's real easy to do. Any technology issues that come up, you're not utilizing anything really new to the industry. You just want to make sure that if you're trying to do something that you personally, nobody's ever done before, that you try it out right away and make sure it'll work. You don't want to wait until the end to implement a difficult piece of technology or programming to find out that it's going to take longer than or be more difficult than you really can fit in. Those are the easy things. Those really are. It's whenever you get groups together, and it doesn't matter how big the group is. The larger the group, though, the more differences there are that have to be addressed, the more conflicts can result. And conflict can be good. Conflict can be constructive. You want everybody to express themselves. Diversity in the workforce in general and collaborative projects specifically is a positive force. And that's why there's such a focus on it in any job, and especially in game development in the industry. Why do you think there's such a push to get more females in the industry? It's because of diversity. You want different outlooks and viewpoints. You have a really unique environment here. You're one of the top-rated colleges for diversity in the country. You look around, look at the diversity you have, and you utilize that to its utmost. It means that everybody has to share ideas. Everybody has to contribute, and everybody should. There's lead positions. That's very common. You're going to have lead positions, and you need that. You need a common focus, and you need people who are going to be able to direct and keep things on track. But those are the people that should listen to everyone else involved, and all those people involved, everyone involved needs to communicate. And it has to be immediate. It has to be like a brainstorming session. It has to be like where everybody is going to just sit there and throw out ideas, right? Especially at this point. And I don't know whether I've just seen the stuff you guys have created. I haven't talked to anyone specifically. I don't know if you've already encountered some issues between personalities, but I know it's going to come up, even in professional environments. You talk to Corey and Nick, and you listen. I've gone out for beers with the guys, and one of the things they constantly say when they talk about hiring processes is the number one thing that they look for in a new employee is whether or not that person is going to fit in with the group, and that it's going to be a fit, that there's going to be mutual respect, and they're going to have fun together. Because these are people that you're going to be working with day in, day out, for weeks on end, and sharing ideas and working on something that's really important and they're passionate about. Even though and that's more important to them than skills. If there's somebody who has a high level of skills and there's somebody who's a little lower but they fit better with the group, they're going to have a person who fits better with the group. That's the number one focus. Even though they spend so much time and effort doing that, they still have conflict. And they're always going to have conflict. It's how you deal with it. You have to, and one of the problems in this environment is you're all basically, a lot of different knowledge levels and experience. I mean, obviously, Brett here is somebody that I'm really glad that he's part of this environment, especially to get us started this year, because he's actually very well respected by people who work in the industry. They've seen his work and I know that he's respected, and I know that he listens to people. So I know hopefully that his example will trickle to other leaders and that will be the basis of how people work. And what you have to remember is that you're all here for the same goal, right? You're not here, you don't have a paycheck hovering over your head, so you're not looking to get paid. You're here for one goal, and that goal is to get the experience and knowledge and to produce something that's going to help you go out in the world and get a really good internship, or if you're already at that point, to get a really good job, right? This is why you're here. So you just got to keep that in mind. And it's very important that you realize that you're all going towards the same goal. The personality issues that commonly come up in professional environments are, you have the oil and water scenario, and you can't say that all programmers lack emotion. You can't say that all artists lack constructive sense. There you go. That some orderly sense of ability to do things in an orderly fashion. But those are the general stereotypes. And those general stereotypes do tend to be true at some level and create conflict between those two. But and that's something I think most people can work through. We have some really good leads, Tristan and Brett and other people. I don't think that would be an issue. Honestly and truly, most of the conflict comes within individual groups. Artists and programmers being jealous of other artists and programmers, that's very, very common. You have artists, because you have so many different pieces that need to be worked on in the game environment. You have artists who are working on bitmap images to be applied to 3D meshes, who are jealous of the 3D artists who get to make 3D models, because then they would much rather be doing that. It's sexier, more exciting, whatever. You have programmers who are working on base code and producing the basic functioning works that the other programmers who are doing scripting for like the actual like artificial intelligence or combat system. They're like, I'd much rather be doing that. That's more fun. So there's always that. You got to realize that everything's important, right? Somebody's got to be doing each of those jobs. And the other aspect is everybody, obviously, you already saw in the forums. I haven't looked at the forums, honestly, in 2 weeks. But in the beginning, I know the forums, there's a lot of, I really want to do this, but I don't want to do that, I want to do this. What you got to realize is that you're not always going to get to work on what you want. And that's the bottom line. You go out in the industry, and there's people who've been out there for over a decade who have never gotten a chance to work on what they want, or even to do, for the artists, to be able to do the type of art that they really, really like to do. There's a look and a feel that gets decided on that's best for the game, and that's what you train and you learn to do, because that's what's going to make the game work, and that's just how it is. You hope that you get to work on a project and you're in an environment where what you should be working to do is what a producer's main role is as a manager of a project, and that is building rapport and respect with the people around you. Because ultimately, if you have a good idea and stuff that you want to work on, you work on these other projects, you build this rapport and respect, and then after that project's done, you say, hey, I got this project. And yeah, there's people around you who are going to be like, yeah, let's, show us what you got. That's what you want to be working on. That's where you got it. So you just gotta focus on the importance of what you're working on, the fact that you're all here for the same goal, for the same things, and it doesn't matter what the project is, what you're working on. It's all going to get you there, right? And you gotta learn. You just gotta work together. And that's really, I can't think of much else to say about that. Anyone have any questions? No? All right. If you ever do, you know where to find me. I'm always around. All right. Thanks.
I know a bunch of you have design sketches for characters, and we're going to go through those. And like I said, you're going to have to present your characters, give us a little backstory on them. I actually would like for the art people to kind of be in one area, and maybe the Carl design people to be in one area. And considering the 2D game that we're working on right now, since we're doing it in game data, there's not a huge programming aspect. Probably the programmers and the designers are going to be working really close together. So.
I think that for this, I think the designers would probably be just as interested in seeing characters that we're working with.
Oh, we're not going to be, we're a small group, we're not going to be separate. I just kind of wanted us to all be in a particular
Alright, then why don't we just split in the size of the room?
I don't want to speak too far. Closer to go. Alright, fine. So, for instance, everybody who's on the art person can of course. You said
and I think so I drew a dying animal and it's like my cool. Yeah, I'll walk you guys through the night class. Well, it's the first class. Okay, I created. You don't get. Okay, everyone's here. Right.
Alright, be friends.
I didn't practice these, so I'll just go on. I created, I came up with 2 knights, 2 brutes, 1 gunner, and about like 5 different mage-type characters. First knight class I came up with was like a blacksmith-type character or like a mechanic, and he carries a giant hammer. He wears wielding goggles. And basically, he's just like a big, rugged, tough guy who like knows his way around machines, and he can make his own weapons and accessories, and can repair anything, like repair an elevator, repair a vehicle, and hijack a vehicle, and maybe a second defense that makes it stronger. Next one is the first group class I came up with was giant battle android, because what better meat shield to have than one that's made out of metal. That works. That makes sense. Let's see, he has giant shield arms for defensive blocking. Obviously, you can pick up large items with these, just as the character concept was what he wanted. Tons of armor, and maybe I was thinking maybe he has a grappling hook instead of like being able to jump high, since he doesn't seem to have really that strong legs to jump. He just uses grappling hooks to extend from his arms, grabs onto ledges and reach other heights. So, and some Nope. Okay. Civilian. Created some civilians because I was a little bit in a wet, definitely. So we have a female civilian and a spaceman, some retro style outfit. And then my first mage class we came up with hackers or scientists. Yeah, just over, I think he's explained more in the next page. Although this is the third mage type we came up with. A kid hacker who can control anything robotic, computerized, or programmable. From Chick to control robots, they can do whatever he wants, use them as units to do suicide missions and whatnot. Control an elevator, activate locks, vehicles. Of course, it should have gadgets everywhere. So, and then lots of vehicles like it in marketplace. scientist, self-explanatory. I
have a question. For the kid hacker, how do you see his ability to control computerized stuff? How do you see that working in like gameplay?
Well, there's like if he's in like a computerized environment where there's always like tons of computers, or maybe he has like a gadget nonchalantly pulls out of his pocket, hooks it into the computer, and somehow has the knowledge to mess around with it and control to do whatever he wants. Basically.
But gameplay-wise, in the actual, you have a control in your hand, you're playing as this character. How does that come back to you?
Maybe you can actually see what he's missing with.
So, but the character has to be able to, hold on its own against an enemy.
Oh.
Because
maybe he needs to find a unit. Maybe he can control another unit. Like I had another concept where maybe like how the brute class battle mech comes into the team. Maybe the kid took control of the giant mech and has the giant mech doing all his fighting for him.
So you saw it as more of a story element than a gameplay element?
It's more like an interactive element the way they.
No, I mean just his
role.
His computer controlling ability. You didn't see it so much as just something that pushes the story forward, or like an ability you'd have in the game.
Maybe an ability inside the game, maybe. Like.
I could see it working, and I've played. There's a game called Oddworld where you could possess. You could use the shoulder buttons and possess people, and then the screen would change over the person that you're possessing, and then you could But the character itself was just sitting there going like this.
Yeah. And you could be killed when you were doing it.
Yeah, you could be killed. Yeah. So I think maybe if we did something like that, it could work.
How do you incorporate the co-op though?
I have no idea.
Well, one of the problems with a hacker guy is...
What if he's like your typical pet class? Like he just has that robot lackey that follows him around everywhere?
Well, one of the problems with a hacker guy is say you go into the big boss chamber and there's nothing around. Does he just get stomped on?
Or you could do something like this. You've got... So your hacker character, we could just he just has as you mentioned, a robot lackey that he controls. So he doesn't actually do anything. Like whenever he needs to climb up the ledge, he climbs the full because where he gets on the robot basically just carries him up the ledge or whatever.
So basically, you control the robot, and the guy kind of tags along.
Like you're actually controlling the robot, and the guy's just following a little bit behind him.
I don't know how that would work gameplay-wise, just because in co-op. Like I said, the character really has to be able to fend for itself.
Well, we're not
in order to do something like that, I think we'd have to really tailor the levels to fit that character. Yeah.
Well, we're not really here to discuss all the what wouldn't work really necessarily. I just want to see what everybody's ideas were as far as gameplay was, and we'll get into the logistics of it later.
Okay. Here's my next one. The gunner class, because it took me a while to think up a character type that was a gunner class and a ranged attacker without
having guns.
Yeah, without having guns, and that was really hard to.
It's Tron.
So I created this athlete type character who was a ball player, kind of similar in the fashion of how Tron is with them in the arena with their Tron disc. Instead of this was a giant green people. Yeah, so maybe it was some futuristic sport, and I was thinking maybe some extreme dodgeball with energy balls, So they, so let's see, they have the ball coming down back, and let's see, you have energy dispersion gauntlets, it makes it can stop the ball when it comes towards him, or accelerate it so he throws it even faster, so it hurts a lot more. And then he also has heavy glide boots. This close. So maybe he skates across the floor using these hover boots. And then I'll come up with I think I've improved upon his costume a bit and give him some long shoulder pads with lace. And also created a female type uniform. And showed some other sketches of how you can use the ball more usefully within the game. Maybe you can use the ball, toss it, and activate a faraway switch or button that's not reachable. And then, or maybe you can since we're not using lightsabers, since that's too Star Warsy, maybe you can use the ball to deflect lasers, since it's also made of great energy as well.
Now, does he have just one and it comes back to him, or does he just?
I was thinking
Does he maybe like charge it up like Samus?
I also have a concept as well, super ball energy that recharges it constantly. So maybe maybe the gauntlet actually can make an extra ball out of his hand, so he will throw 3 at a time.
But I'm saying the one that he has, he throws it and it doesn't come back. It just keeps going.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe it does come back. Kind of like how Captain America always throws his shield and somehow always comes back to him. So I thought it was doing a Duke in a giant energy ball.
In that case, though, are you thinking of something like, so you're saying you want to make it so it does come back?
Yeah.
Have you thought of,
If he doesn't make his own balls, then it would be much better for it to come back.
right, but did you also think of this scenario, he throws it and by some chance it doesn't come back, and it's going to happen in that case?
Like lightsaber throw, and like it's knocked down, you have to go grab it again.
And then he has to go grab it again. Back in the shot.
Well, I guess like beat up in the process.
So then how would you fight without it?
He wouldn't. You would have to run up there and grab it.
You can dodge.
Be like character flaw. Yeah, character flaw.
I'm just wondering, because it could be a thing, even if we program it and the ball doesn't come back, you guys could basically fix us.
Well, you can. There shouldn't be a glitch where the ball doesn't come back.
We
should not. Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should not like plan for a glitch. Basically, all you have to do is say like, if the ball object is not connected to the person, generate another ball object, and it would seem like, oh, it just teleported back. Rather than having.
Like if you did something on this.
Yeah,
Or whatever, dissipate the energy of the ball.
I would just rather not plan for a glitch like that as a player
Well, you should always
concept.
prepare for any sort of.
But it's a player
This isn't a
concept
physical
glitch.
ball. This is like a ball made of energy. So you can just use a sci-fi excuse like,
If he dissipated, he used the control on his arm to dissipate the energy. That was
what else do I got? What's the next page? Oh, this one. Oh, so it shows a picture of the kid hacker taking control of the giant mech custom car. No, it's that one.
So wait, the mech wouldn't be a character by itself, it'd be these two together?
It could be, or it couldn't be. That's the design's team.
That'd be a cool idea if it was both of them together.
Just throwing the idea. Or maybe like maybe the battle mech came into the team because the blacksmith type character needed him.
Yeah, you can give the mech energy, so that like he can pick up and throw stuff, but he can't do it like all the time. Because like that's one of the big falls with like the huge guys. They're just big all the time, so you give them like run out of energy.
Do stuff with that.
Well, you wait till they run out of energy. Lots of bullets. So you pick them all the down.
Bigger guy or guns?
I'll go for even bigger guys. Police.
I'm missing it. Second night class, I didn't have time to really build much into him, but he's kind of straightforward anyway. Riot cop with shield and electric baton. Maybe they banned firearms for in the future, so they're supposed to use electric batons. And then see another mage class doctor, since I saw inside the concept that he is someone that can heal, so why not stick a doctor in there? But I don't know how any other things you can do. Besides healing.
Just make him a chemist.
Yeah.
So throw like napalm.
But I didn't have time to draw a chemist second.
Doctors can be
Well,
chemists.
you could do with if you stick with the doctor, you can have one thing to heal part members, but to actually attack, they'll have like another syringe.
Oh, listen, I saw some concept that some person made on DeviantArt. He created like a battle mech healer type character, but like one arm has the healing syringe, and the other arm has a chainsaw. So it was like, and I was like, wow, that's a neat battle mech to have.
What I'm saying is like have one healing syringe and then sort of like a poison syringe.
Oh yeah, poison.
And like maybe he'd also be good at kind of like stealthy kills. Like if he.
But that'd be a rogue, not a.
Well, I'm just saying like obviously he's not like a ninja, so if he would be caught, if he were able to sneak up on him because he's a doctor, he'd know like he'd be able to snap the neck. Since he's a doctor.
Chiropractic.
Yeah.
Chiropractic on that.
For enemies that aren't alive.
Like he'd know where to snap the neck.
Music characteristics. Because I was running out of ideas. So I came up with, why not a cybernetic gorilla? He's, basically Donkey Kong but larger with cybernetic arms. Yeah, carrying a giant atomic bomb, apparently. The first round is a little bit messed up. This is a bomb. It must be lit. Okay, who's next?
I'll go.
I like the idea. See, this is actually Francis did exactly what I was hoping for. When we came up with the classes, I wanted people to take them as. No, we wanted people to take them as more of suggestions on how they fight and how they behave rather than their actual jobs. And the fact that he did like a blacksmith, and I like the riot cop idea actually, and the fact that he tried to be as original as possible, I appreciate. So.
This one, I have this one. The next ninja.
We'll talk about this.
Okay. First off, I think this would be good for the mage character. I personally think that, just because he's undead doesn't mean he's bad. So liches are generally like the top powerful mages. So he's just goes and kills people. He's got ranged attacks kind of like the archer does, but his main weapon would be the staff that he uses. His playing character, I didn't really think about the healing part of it because I generally don't play co-op mages, so I like the assault better. I like the blunt assault, really powerful assault, and less in the way of hit points. So
what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
Mages generally do the most damage but have no hit points or defense. So that's why they have the ranged attacks that keep people away from them.
Yeah.
And if they get close, then they're in serious trouble. Which is one of the things I like about the lich mages because they're dead, so they're falling apart, so they get too beat up. They die. So I just like the lich character because he's a lot different from the normal mages. So that's one of the reasons I went with him.
About that, I think because he's dead, you can get power from dead enemies. For every dead enemy, he'll gain
stat power from people.
He'll gain it's not really literal that power, but just once they're dead, he'll gain extra back or something.
Well, I'll get back to it because this is my other mage. It's okay. Other mage is. I call it third eye mage because of the diamond in her forehead. But the other thing I thought, to show the strength of a mage, you get the guys who don't even walk, they just kind of float along. And I think that would be even her walking style, would just be kind of a little bobbing float. All of her attacks would be energy based. So all of them need to be ranged or just close range, energy throws. She could also have healing abilities because, she's alive. And it could technically be nice, but once again, I prefer not the typical mage with the robe and just kind of walks along. It just kind of radiates power by the fact that she's just floating along. So once again, that's what I like about the mage is the strong offense and power.
The mage, actually, the concept-wise, it's actually very close to our original concept for the mage. That we actually had her floating, right? And we actually had her doing up close attacks, never touching the enemy, but using close range energy kind of things. We kind of saw it's very straight up fantasy, and I was really kind of hoping for something with a technical, a mix of fantasy and technology.
Well, if you want to fantasy and technology, just rework her costume a little bit. Or if you want, especially for technology, would be big electric gauntlets, and it just kind of floats along and just slashes with lightning. Would look nice. It would complement her feminine physique. Just break down. Anyway. And so the next one I had is a ninja, which I'll show the picture in a second. He's got a pretty simple costume, but he uses a glaive, which is the long reach polearm with a nice blade in the end, which complements his ability to jump high and move quickly, so it gives him a reach ability as well. If anybody wonders, yes, I just started working on faces, so I hate you all. Just saying. So hate you especially. Wow. So,
see, when you said glaive, I thought you meant like blades glaive before, like throw.
No, well, you can throw it if you really want to.
So you're talking about like a side.
No, it's not side.
Glaive is polearm.
Yeah.
Polearm with the blade. The side goes like back this way, so it just kind of splits up.
Yeah, but there's some confusion because when Blade came out, they call that that weapon he has that flicks out and he throws it and it kills like 4 vampires and stuff like that. They call that a glaive too, even though it's not.
That was a weird boomerang type object.
So, well, like I was saying, the reach of the blade would give him an advantage, especially combined with his agility and speed. It would give him a unique fighting style, being that he wouldn't have to get as close, and he would be hit and run style, and the glaive would give him the reach that he would need to pull that off. So once again, the ninja would be a lighter class. Also could perform acrobatic tricks with the glaive, using it as like a pole vault or something. So those are my character ideas that I'd come up with.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Or Francis for that matter?
Oh, by the way, I couldn't come up with a ninja that wasn't a ninja.
Yeah, I know we're done with that one too, actually. Alright, who's next? Better.
I only came up with like 4 designs. Thank you, Brett. The first 2 I did, this was a random enemy. Brett came up with an idea for like a monster, like big guy. That like he came up with like this one like explain.
We wanted basically there was going to be a point in the game where you run into an enemy who is really difficult to beat, and we wanted it to be like a big like monster. Not, and I'm going to say cave troll like in Lord of the Rings, but it doesn't look like a cave troll. It's that same kind of fight, like that fight where you're just kind of left weak and depleted at the end.
You can't win if you
No, you win, but it takes everything you have to win it. And then when that happens, 8 more of them show up. And then there's another character I thought of that kind of comes and rescues you, so to speak. And that was Mel's idea for that one.
But yeah, I saw Brett's and it was 10 times cooler, so I just want to use that as like a normal enemy. So this was the first mage idea I came up with. She pretty much, like the one Tristan said, she floats and just uses energy attacks. That's how I see the mage of. Yeah. Yeah, she floats.
Anything like as far as characters? Personal background?
Personal background. She lives in the sewers and I didn't really come up with any character background. I was thinking of like a typical future fantasy mage character. Yeah, I didn't really come up with too much of a background. This is my second mage. I like this one a lot more. She's pretty much the same thing, just in a cooler outfit and looks more badass. Yeah, huge belts are cool.
And the belts always slide to one side.
Belts always, zippers.
I like that she's got a belt for show, and she's got an actual belt.
And then an additional belt. Yeah. Belts mean futures and combined. So I had to throw in one of those. I colored it as well, but I can't find my jump drive, so I can't really show you guys that one. It's possible.
I haven't seen you.
What kind of attack did you see this guy have?
This guy for attacks,
strategy.
I would see. He would just be a gift. He does probably just one huge slice and then one lunge. He just lunges and like bites you in the face and then tosses like Blanca.
Okay.
But like one giant.
For him, it kind of reminds me of an experience I had in Final Fantasy XII, where I got sucker punched by a werewolf.
You get sucker punched, you saw it coming.
All right. I lured it to come after me, and it did so. But I kind of blocked once, and then it immediately followed up with another punch. So it was like 2. Yeah, 2. So it looked like it was gonna be one big boom, but it was a boom boom, and it caught me off guard. So I think if we throw in something to kind of catch the player off guard, like kind of stop the first punch short, go back and give it another straight through.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the concept behind, like, I like, in the time I spent like doing a design for like Dungeons and Dragons, I find you get to the point where your players get really overconfident because they fought so many enemies. They really think that they can handle whatever you throw at them, and it's nice to put them in place every now and then. So that's kind of what the point of this monster was, just to keep the fear going.
Second character, I came from a normal, like basic infantry enemy. Like what he would do with her is he would just disarm, pass it out. He would just like.
It looks like Jar Jar Binks' ears.
Jar Jar Binks' power armor. Anyway, so he does the big arm. I think it's on the left. That would just shoot like a bunch of little energy balls or some energy beams.
Mega Man style.
I was thinking, I don't know if it would be too much work to do, just have him shoot a lot and then shoot one huge one, or because I wanted those guys to be like thrown at you in like large clumps. So I don't know if having them shoot large ones would really work.
They'd be similar to the shadows in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, like because they're always around. So whenever you go to, you always fight those guys, and so I wanted that guy to be.
Likely the guy that makes you overconfident.
What's with like the Jar Jar Binks' ears?
Yeah, not ears.
They're not. I thought they were.
Those are just things.
Things?
They're just like helmet thingies.
Jar Jar Binks is fins. They have more shape.
And the last enemy design is someone that shields the enemies. He just makes a huge shield. She has 2 attacks. One, please.
Zakuai.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Zakuai. But like, it would shoot. It would have like it would shield the enemy from your attacks. I don't think you should be able to touch the shield because like energy and stuff like that. And then her second attack would just be like a massive beam. So that's why I was hesitant to give the normal infantry guy a big beam because I would like to pair those 2 up a lot.
We could have the shield do a knockback.
Now I was thinking that.
And have her do a shield charge. So just charge forward and just knock you down to the guys behind you.
Yeah, I always had the idea of the shield moving, and you'd have to hit it with like either a special or a ranged attack. It'd be kind of hard for the big guy to do, but then again, the big guy can throw.
Yes. I think it's really helpful as far as game design goes to think not just the heroes as classes, but monsters in their own classes too. Usually you have like your infantry enemy, the guy who just runs at you. You have like your blocker enemy, the guy who keeps your bullets or arrows or whatever you have from hitting his friends. You have the brute enemies that just kind of throw themselves at you. You've got like blaster enemies, guys who go far away, or they're usually archers or snipers in certain games.
These super villain enemies.
Yeah. So it's helpful to think of them in those kind of classes just for game design purposes.
That was
it.
Yes, okay. I did do a ninja, but it sucked and I threw it away. It's very helpful. Thank you. Anyone?
No, I might just settle with the ninja.
No, it looks like the espionage.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a knight. His arm, his right arm, will generate a shield, a laser shield. His axe is all laser. It's like Star Wars, but it's an axe. Yeah, that's basically knight, and I've done ninja here. Who can, you see the thing over her face? She can scout enemies for the weaknesses. How does that work? The thing over her eye, just scan. I was at work.
Like scanned in Final Fantasy, like you can tell if the enemy's weak, you can inspire that kind of thing.
And she's a projectile type. She has a lot of projectiles. You could think any laser things. A laser knife that if you want to throw something to if you can't reach to a spot, just use her to disable something. She's a fast type, to move fast. And she's very agile. Yeah.
One of the things that occurred to me when I was looking at this is for the ninjas move, we could have like the Samus Aran, which like curls up to a ball and kind of, or well, actually better Super Smash Brothers, when you kind of do the dodge, you kind of roll back real quick. Mm-hmm. Have the ninja kind of like shrink, move over, and like unshrink, like really, really quick. Mm-hmm. So that'd be just her normal move, so she wouldn't actually move at all. So that means that if like for the shield enemy, she could roll like underneath, hit him from the back.
I think we had the gunner had that, didn't we?
Yeah, the gunner had the dodge roll, and what we talked about ninja, she would parry and do like a quick counter.
So the ninja kind of like the enemy goes at her, rather than dodging, she kind of flicks the weapon away and then immediately just a quick attack.
Like we had the gunner, the concept behind the gunner was because he was long range and because he was the only person who could really like attack from completely across the screen, he spent a lot of his time running away because he basically spent most of his time trying not to get hit. That's what he was good at, hitting you from over there and not getting hit at this
So he's a low attack?
He's more or less like just like dodging, like the dodge roll, like you were mentioning, like rolling past enemies and shooting them, or rolling away from big guys trying to crush them, that kind of thing. Doesn't mean the ninja. Basically, we were thinking that there will be almost no character that was the only one who did something, because like other characters would do it just not as well. Like if the gunner was the best at like dodge roll, and the ninja would have something that was like half as good. Then if the mage is the best at blocking attacks, the knight would be half as good at it, but he could still do it. That kind of a thing. So you'd always have, in case you lose one of your characters, you have a backup character that could do something similar.
So you're going with like once your entire party is gone, then you lose the game?
Yeah, that's what we mentioned that last time. Yeah, it was like I just tried having a bunch of Pokemon.
Yeah, I was there for it, but I didn't know if that was the final or not.
5, yeah, you're stable with 5 characters. You have all 5 characters and you can kind of switch out.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, one
game, but you
That's
yeah.
have 4 characters always there together.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't always be on screen. Only 2 at a time, but they'd be in like your. Yeah. Like Pokemon is the best thing you can think of. Like you have your what is it?
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Or Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah,
You have your character go on the back and
you can switch them in and out. I don't know if we should have them slowly healed.
Well, I think we should do the I don't know how hard it is programmed, but the fighting thing where you're hit here, here's your health. You get hit, but a red bar remains behind it.
Then that's what you can.
And if you switch them out, it'll regain health up to where that red bar was. Is that easy to program?
It would, yeah, you can just switch to a temporary holding place for it and then add it back over a time limit.
And then is there a way, and then after that, if they keep getting hit, that red bar will drop a little bit too?
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of like they do in Grand Theft Auto.
Mode versus good.
Yeah.
Almost every fighting game that involves healing in any way, or switching out, generally has that.
Totally off topic, Microsoft's letting a discussion to buy Capcom. Thought you all should know. Microsoft's trying to buy Capcom. It's a mostly confirmed rumor. So just letting everybody know, so there's no shots.
Hold on, guys.
Game Maker does have built-in health function for one character, kind of, for like one player. But to do that,
you have to have a timer. You would have to have a timer for it.
Say you
have a variable that says this is the max health that you have at this current point. And then once the timer activates, it transfers health directly to the health that's being held and subtracts from the variable of the temporary health. Whereas if they get hit during that time, then you could subtract from the temporary health without actually touching the regular health. And if the temporary health is 0, then you can take it from the regular health.
So the quick answer is yes.
Yes.
That's all.
No, I like the long answer. Do that more.